Maggie.
Thank
How have
you.
you been?
Um, to be honest, it's still been kind of rough, but I mean, our last session talking did really help me, like just getting like some of that stuff off my chest and voicing some of the stuff that I've been going through with you really did help. So thank you for that, and I'm looking forward to this session as well. Um,
Perfect.
yeah.
Okay. So, and last we talked, you were still struggling on going to work and kind of putting yourself out there. Now, is that still continuing?
Um, I did miss one day of work this week. Um, but I mean, it's getting like I do feel like it's getting better. I'm not finding myself crying when I'm at work. Like as I told you last week during my lunch breaks, I just would go to my car and cry, and I just felt like I couldn't get through the day. Like just every task was so hard to get through. So I feel just the fact that I'm feeling like I'm able to get through the day most days uh, is an improvement for sure.
Okay. And what kind of changes did you make to support that?
Um, I think like just like I said, talking to you last week, and um, yeah, just I had so much at that point, like just circulating in my head over and over again, that it was making me feel like almost frozen, like trapped. So just getting that out made me feel like I had a little bit of breathing room, if
I'm
that
glad
makes sense.
you're, yeah, I'm glad you're able to kind of let out what you have bottled up.
Thank you.
Um, so how has discussions and communication with your husband been?
Um, it's like it's better in the sense that like when I came back from the session last week, like we did talk, which we hadn't really had like an open talk like that in a while. Like the couple weeks leading up to it, we were just talking like at each other just to kind of get through the day, like what we needed, the information we needed, or you know, dinners in the fridge, that kind of thing. Wasn't really talking to check in with each other, so I felt like he was a bit more open after my session last week to really like find out how it went and to check in with me and to have a little bit more of a discussion. But I think at the same time, um, I felt like a bit of pressure, I guess. Like I think that he wanted me to almost be fixed after one session. Like I think he wants, like I know he wants the best for me. I know he does love me, and he wants me to get better, but at the same time, like it gives me the feeling that he just wants to fix me, and I just
Yeah,
like I don't like feeling like broken in that sense.
I can understand that. And him pressuring you to go into CBT and therapy could put more stress onto you. So, but I'm glad you came around to it.
Thank
Um,
you.
have you discussed any about the big stressor? Have you discussed children with him? Yeah, in
I
that
think
idea.
that he kind of like hinted at it, like he was like insinuating like he wanted to ask like, oh, is that still a thing? Like he didn't directly say it, but I could tell like he wanted. But once again, it just made me feel like he wants it all just to be fixed. Like he just wants it to go away. He wants things to go back to how they were. And parts of me want that too, but another part of me is like, well, how can I want children? How can I want something that's such a big life choice and just like tuck that neatly away and not think about it and have every like paint a smile on it and go through the rest of my life as if everything is hunky dory and nothing changed. Like I I don't know if there's a going back per se.
Yeah, and I can see why you're feeling anxiety about that. And so my rationale would be, um, of course, you can't go back to it, and uh, you can't change it, but you can explain how you feel. And how do you feel when he sort of belittles you?
I don't know if he's trying to belittle me. I would say it's more of like oversimplification.
Okay.
Yeah, like he just wants things to be like neat and tidy, that there's like a simple answer, a simple solution, and things will just magically go back to the way they used to be. But I don't know how. Like once you open Pandora's box in a sense, like how do you put it all back?
Yeah, exactly. Um, do you think it's how do I say this? Uh, Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, it's
It's
okay.
almost easier to um not speak about it, but I feel as if you have to be your own voice and speak how you feel. But is that what you would say the main stressor is for how you're feeling?
Like I'd say it's the catalyst, like having that realization, I guess I would say. Like once I feel like my eyes have been open to something, I wasn't even looking at it, and now my eyes are open to it, and that's all I can look at. Like that's all I can see.
Okay. So you're
And
kind of hyper fixating on it.
I think he would say that. Like he would probably agree that I'm hyper fixated on it.
But it is an important uh time that is, you think you're almost running out of time to have children, right?
Yeah,
So it is
exactly.
a
Like
big
for
way.
him, he could remarry and 10 years down the road still have a family, and he has those options. So
You feel
it's not
almost
that I want to be like hyper fixated, but I don't have the time to waste. So it's kind of like, okay, well, if I don't address this, and if I don't process this and make a decision either way, if I don't take the time now to do those things, if I just do what he wants and just kind of ignore it and not talk about it, well, then time's gonna run out, and then what?
yeah, exactly. And I think you're completely reasonable in your stance. And I think that anyone would be feeling the stress you are in your position. I think that we could kind of examine more so the thoughts that you are having when you feel this way and why they're leading you to withdrawal sometimes and to fall back into those depressive patterns. So you say it's almost like a fear for the future, right?
Um, I I I don't know if it's like fear for the future. It's more like I feel trapped in my present. Like I feel trapped in, I've spent all these years building this life that I have around me, and up to this point, like it's been great. Like I'm living the dream. I have a job I love. I'm successful. I have a beautiful home. I have a beautiful husband, a great relationship. We enjoy each other. We had the same goals, the same, like everything. Everything's just smooth sailing. Everything's going along great. that's like, the American dream, Canadian dream, whatever you want to call it. And
Hmm.
then, a month ago I turned 35, and it's like the switch went off, and I'm like, I I have like maximum 5 or 6 years, and that's really stretching. That's stretching. Like once you get into the 40s, and I'm taking huge chances. Like I'm risking the health of like a potential baby. I'm risking the health of myself at that point. So if Charles really doesn't want a kid and I have to start from scratch, I take a year, get divorced. I take another year, 2 years to maybe find another partner. That's like, and then what if we don't conceive right away? What if it takes another year, 2 years? Like how that's if everything goes fairly smoothly. Like
Yeah,
that's like even that's all with hitting the best case scenario markers. So I just wish he understood that. Like it's not that I want to pressure him. It's not that I want to get divorced. Like I love him up to this point. Like I said, it's been great. I don't want to throw my life away to pursue this, but in a sense, if I don't, do I live the rest of my life with regret?
that, yeah, that's a very rational mindset. And I think that because you're feeling almost trapped, you're feeling you don't know where to go from here, you're almost putting off what you need to do to,
It's just so much pressure. Like I feel like just having to think through, like weigh my options, like really think, like, do I make a drastic choice? Do I pursue this? Like just kind of mulling it over. Like that's where the depression's kind of hitting me, because I feel trapped in mulling over these big questions and trying to find the answer. Like I feel like I'm just trying to look for the light at the end of the tunnel, but I just keep going in a circle, in a circle, in a circle.
yeah. And by it's almost like you could say a vicious cycle that keeps you trapped in it. And because it's almost like you don't know what to do and you can't move forward. It's kind of this anxiety weighing you down.
Yeah, I need to make a decision, but the consequences of going either way are so heavy that it keeps sucking me back into the cycle. Like I just can't make that definitive choice, because either one is very difficult to face. Like,
I
yeah.
agree. What do you think the worst possible outcome of maybe, for example, getting a divorce and you pursuing the chance to have children on your own?
Um, like what if Charles is the love of my life? Like
What if there is no
what if
more to
that's
that?
that's the best thing, like that's the best thing that ever happened to me, and I just threw it away?
Well, I believe that to focus all of your, um, meaning onto one person isn't necessarily healthy, but we can kind of slip into that. So you have to remember you are your own person. And if you have desires, you have to pursue them on your own without the limiting forces.
That means a lot. Thank you. Yeah. Like I don't want to hurt him. I see that I'm hurting him, and that's not the intention. Like, ultimately, it's it's like it involves him, but it's not about him. Like, it's
Yeah.
about what I want, even though a lot of what I want is contingent on what he wants. So he feels like, obviously that it's about him, but it's not really about him. But ultimately, like, those decisions that I make will severely, like, touch his life, like that, like me making the decision to pursue having children on my own, and if he goes his separate way, like, that's making a choice for him that he doesn't necessarily want to make. Like, that's flipping his life upside down that he doesn't necessarily want to do. And
And s-
that's also a part of that heaviness I'm feeling. Like, that's such a huge responsibility on my shoulders that I'm impacting his life in such a way. Um yeah, like, I don't want to hurt him in that way, but at the same time, I don't want to be hurting either.
that makes a lot of sense. And it's great that you can see both perspectives and take that into account. Um, I don't know where else to go with this. I'm going to cut off the recording and edit it.